Let's get to the big story of the day. We've been talking about this. This was one of our first stories in our top 5. One of the biggest online fraud cases ever. Federal agents breaking up an elaborate crime ring that stretched across the globe.
At least 80 people are charged with preying on businesses and unsuspecting victims, hacking emails and fooling them into turning over tens of millions of dollars. Some cases involved online dating scams.
So let's bring in ABC's Serena Marshall with the details. Serena, good morning. What kind of scams were they pulling here?
Well, Trevor, Janae, this was highly sophisticated. They netted nearly $46 million from their victims, but they utilized some age-old tactics. They preyed on the lonely, those elderly individuals. They also were seeking individuals who were looking for friendship and love. One woman in the indictment said that she lost $200,000 to an individual she thought was a U.S. service member based overseas. But you guys, it wasn't just individuals these schemers were targeting, but corporations.
It would appear that the Nigerians have figured out a way to hack into certain companies' email system so they could pretend to be a CEO or an executive of the company. And then it's sent to an employee who thinks they're getting it from a big-time boss, directing them to send money to another location, with a justification to do it. And it's all fake. It's actually going to the Nigerians, and they end up dispersing the money amongst themselves and moving on to the next person. Again, a percentage of those are not going to work, but if you do literally hundreds or thousands of them a day, some people are going to bite. But the corporation scam, where they're pretending to be a CEO and getting someone lower down in the company to send money, is actually sort of a new sophistication for them as far as stealing money from people.
And Serena, so how were those suspected scammers caught?
Janae, this started with one bank account, one victim, and then it grew rapidly from there. The FBI says they had victims in all 50 states and found dozens of victims who were overseas. Now, they had 80 individuals that were indicted. Dozens of those were arrested in LA and here in the United States. Many of them will have to be extradited, and most of them were Nigerian nationals, and they'll be charged with money laundering, fraud, identity theft. But you guys, unfortunately, even with the charges and the investigation that led to those charges, those victims not going to get their money back.
Oh, that's sad. So many of those were really vulnerable, too. Serena Marshall, thank you for joining us from Washington. Appreciate you waking up early for us.